Hello, River family. I'm Pastor Isaiah. Today, I'm here with Pastor Jane.
Woohoo!
We're going to be continuing our digging deeper into concepts of orphan versus son, of
That's right.
knowing who we are with God versus what kind of things you might be not quite there yet in.
Yeah.
And again, like we talked about, as we are revealing things of like this is how an orphan thinks or how they act, what they believe, there's no judgment. We're all revealing it in our own lives as well, and we want to
Yes.
turn away from that and instead like really act as a son, as a child of God. What does that look like?
Well, I come from performance-based mentality, which means I like to look like I know what I'm doing, but I might be a hot
Me
mess
too.
inside. So like if you come to my house, the front, it looks really nice, but the closets need some work. So it's kind of like that in my inside
Right.
too,
Right.
unfortunately. So as I've learned, orphan, I've read a whole book about it. I've tried to find things on YouTube because I recognize that it keeps me from the fullness that God has for me.
Right.
It's not just about doing it right, which is really why I do a lot of things, but it is about this relationship and living in freedom, not just so I'm happy, but so I can give that to other people. That is a really
the
big
fullness
goal.
isn't just
Yes.
doesn't just change your life; it changes everyone around you.
Yes, and as a mom and just the grandma and the different people in my life, I want to be able to live this fully on purpose, right? So what's our topic about orphans today?
Today we're talking about fear versus love, and that's a very broad subject. It can be
Yeah.
it's a whole different thing, but specifically as an orphan, fear is what makes sense.
Yeah.
If I don't have a father, if I don't know whose I am, if I don't know who I am,
Right.
the reaction to the world, because there's so much
Going on.
mess out there.
Sure.
Even not even just this year in the new, like just life.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of suffering. There's a lot of
Yes.
sin. There's a lot of scary things. So like fear makes sense as an orphan. There's no other option. And so we often, any area of your life where you have partnered with fear, you're probably still believing or have an orphan mentality.
This is such a big deal. Honestly, as I was growing up and I watch people in the kingdom of God all the time, if our faith is outside of God, if we're trusting in our government or our
Anything else.
job or our husband or our children or whatever, anything else,
Money.
we actually are missing out on the love that God has for us. And we're scared all the time because
Right.
you don't know if that foundation is going to hold you.
And the reality is it won't.
Yes.
So of course fear makes sense because you know eventually
Yes.
you've seen everything crumble. You've seen people's marriages crumble out of nowhere. You've seen ministries crumble. You've seen
Yes.
money just disappear.
That's right. Yeah.
There isn't actually security in any of that.
And that is a big part of being, I know, a girl. I imagine it's a big part of all humans. Security is a big deal.
Right.
And for us to grow in our knowledge of God as our Father, that He is our security, it's a game changer. When I realized that regardless of what we did and how successful we were and how many people we could get to come to the church, that God was still going to take care of me, that changes everything.
And so that's where fear makes sense without that security.
Yes.
Love is what replaces that. If I have a father who loves me
Amen.
and I believe that he loves me and wants good for me, then it's a lot easier to not partner with fear. I'm not setting my foundation on something that I know might wither away. I'm not believing in something that might go away because he's always there and he's always a good father. And so that's what love looks like on the opposite of fear. It makes it so much easier to connect to that love, to receive that love, because it's always there.
Yes.
Right? You said like our fear actually just cuts it off. It doesn't make it go away. It just
That's
means
right.
we're not receiving it.
That's right.
But that love's always there. And when we receive that love, then it's so much easier to walk out life without fear. And even when scary things happen,
That's right.
I have love. I have a father who's here with me. And so my reaction might be fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Physical fear isn't necessarily bad or wrong. When
Right.
something jumps up and you're scared, like that's
That
natural.
happens, yeah.
But as far as like partnering with fear, believing it, and emotionally letting fear affect your life, affect your mind, your thoughts,
Yes.
that's what we're talking about. And love cuts that all off because now I'm able to listen to love instead.
I'm secure in who He has and what His plan is. There's a difference between your physiological reaction of fear and the spirit of fear.
Yeah.
And in our time, in the time we live in right now, we just caution everyone not to be under the spirit of fear.
Yeah.
And understand that there's a difference, right? So when I find myself sliding into that, I can choose to go back to love,
Yes.
to replace that fear that seems to be and feels like it's all around me. So there's practical things we do, which is what I want to ask you this. When you recognize that you're in fear, how do I develop that love relationship so that I believe that he's actually got me? Because I'm
Right.
sure there's been times when it doesn't feel like he does.
Right. Well, sometimes, especially if it's an area you've experienced love and freedom before, it can be easy to do by yourself.
That's
and
good.
just pray. Just
That's
talk to
good.
God and be like, hey,
Yes.
I'm sorry I've been listening to fear. Give me the truth. Remind me of who you are. Remind me of how much you
That's
love me.
powerful. Did you hear that? Give me the truth. You're allowed to ask God to give you the truth. That's good.
But sometimes, if it's an area where you've only known fear,
Yes.
that's why we have fellowship. That's why we have
So good.
pastors. That's why we
Yes.
have
Amen.
counselors, or even just a good friend to sit down and kind of pray with you.
That's
Because
good.
sometimes if you've never seen anything but fear, it doesn't.
Yes.
You don't even have the ability to receive anything.
Yes.
Receive the truth yet. So
Yes.
you partner with someone and they help
There's
you
no
go
grid.
through that.
Yeah, so that is so good. So we really want to encourage you. Honestly, I recommend Isaiah. He has helped me so much. And we need people. There's sometimes when,
Yeah.
like he just said, if you don't have the right glasses on, you need someone to help you see it a different way who's already been down that road that can take you with you down that. That's awesome.
And then you get to help other people either in that area or in areas where you
Yes.
haven't struggled with fear as well. And that's part of the body of believers all raising each other
Amen.
up, is that we get to help each other be sons.
Yeah, that's
Help
right.
each other out of that orphan mentality, because when you're next to a son, it makes it easier to be like, well, that looks really good.
Yes.
Like, I want to have
Yes.
love instead of fear. I don't want to be
Amen.
walking underneath this spirit.
Yes.
And the orphan spirit partners with that spirit of fear. And so that's
Yes.
why we want to get rid of it.
That's so good. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll be back
you.
tomorrow and we'll dig a little deeper. See you later.
Bye.